Introduction. We live in a world where our phones, laptops, televisions, and tablets are always within reach. They connect us, entertain us, and inform us. But they also consume us. For those over 50 who didn't grow up in the digital age, this constant connection can be both a blessing and a burden. While technology offers convenience, it also has hidden costs, especially for our brains, memory, mood, and overall mental health. Today, we'll take a deep dive into the art and science of the digital detox, specifically for the over-50 mind. We'll uncover how constant digital stimulation affects aging brains, why stepping back is more important than ever, and how you can reclaim balance, focus, and peace of mind without giving up technology altogether. Chapter 1: The Digital Overload Dilemma After 50. For thousands of years, human life unfolded without glowing screens. We woke up with the sun, spent our days in physical interaction with people and the environment, and wound down with the rhythms of nature. Information traveled slowly, through books, letters, conversations, or word of mouth. Our brains evolved to process information deeply, with patience and focus. Fast forward just 2 decades, and everything changed. Smartphones, tablets, computers, and televisions became our constant companions. Today, studies show that the average adult spends 7 to 10 hours every single day looking at a screen. That's nearly half of our waking life. For those over 50, this sudden technological shift poses unique challenges. Unlike younger generations, who learned to swipe and tap as toddlers, today's older adults spent their formative years in an analog world. They grew up with library cards instead of search engines, handwritten letters instead of emails, and face-to-face conversations instead of video calls. Their brains were wired for deep concentration, patience, and long-term memory storage. But digital technology demands something completely different. Instead of lingering on one task, it pushes us toward rapid multitasking, endless scrolling, and constant notifications. The result? A mismatch between how the over-50 brain was designed to function and the high-speed digital reality it's now forced to navigate. The cognitive toll of digital overload. Research suggests that this mismatch may actually accelerate cognitive decline. Constant screen use reduces attention span, weakens memory pathways, and disrupts natural brain rhythms. Tasks that once required patience, like reading a book or solving a puzzle, now feel frustratingly slow compared to the quick dopamine hits of scrolling. Add to this the fact that many people over 50 are already at higher risk of insomnia, anxiety, and mild memory lapses, and you can see why digital overload can be especially harmful. Instead of strengthening the brain with meaningful stimulation, constant screen time floods it with fragmented, shallow input. Over time, this can lead to mental fatigue, irritability, and even burnout. A real-life picture. Imagine Susan, a 58-year-old professional transitioning into semi-retirement. She spends hours each day checking work emails, following the news on her tablet, scrolling through Facebook, and watching YouTube videos late into the night. She often feels mentally exhausted but strangely unsatisfied, as if her mind is cluttered yet empty at the same time. She notices she forgets small details, like where she put her keys or the name of someone she just met. What Susan is experiencing is not unusual. It's the result of her brain being bombarded with too much digital input without enough downtime for memory consolidation and mental recovery. The good news. Here's the encouraging part: the over-50 brain is still highly adaptable. Neuroscientists call this neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself even in later years. With intentional breaks from screens and the setting of clear digital boundaries, you can reduce overstimulation, restore balance, and even rebuild cognitive resilience. Just as the body can recover with rest, exercise, and proper nutrition, the brain can recover with quiet time, focused activities, and digital detox practices. The key is to recognize the problem and take small but powerful steps toward balance. Chapter 2: How Constant Connectivity Rewires the Aging Brain. Every ping, buzz, and vibration from our devices isn't just a harmless alert, it's a mini neurological event. Each one triggers the brain's dopamine system, the very same circuit involved in reward and addiction. This is why it feels so hard to ignore a notification. Our brains have been trained to expect a little chemical reward every time we check. The aging brain and dopamine. For the over-50 brain, this presents unique risks. Dopamine sensitivity naturally declines with age, which means it takes more stimulation to produce the same feeling of reward. In other words, what once satisfied us no longer does. Digital platforms know this and are designed to exploit it. Features like endless scrolling feeds, autoplay videos, and personalized notifications are not accidents, they are engineered to keep us hooked, providing just enough novelty to keep the dopamine system engaged. But here's the danger: over time, this constant stimulation weakens the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and memory consolidation. Instead of forming strong, long-term memories, the brain starts to favor quick, shallow information bites. That's why you might remember a funny meme you saw this morning but forget the details of a meaningful conversation from yesterday. The sleep connection. Another major consequence of connectivity overload is sleep disruption. Blue light emitted by screens suppresses melatonin, the hormone that signals to your body that it's time to rest. Adults over 50 are already more prone to insomnia and fragmented sleep due to hormonal changes, medical conditions, or simply the natural aging process. When late-night scrolling delays melatonin release, it becomes even harder to fall asleep or stay asleep. The result is a vicious cycle. Poor sleep accelerates memory decline, weakens the immune system, increases inflammation, and even raises the risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. Story example. Take John, a 62-year-old accountant. He often falls asleep with the TV on or scrolls his phone in bed. He notices that he wakes up groggy, struggles to focus during the day, and forgets names at work. What John doesn't realize is that his nighttime screen habit is not just costing him sleep, it's actually rewiring his brain to favor distraction over focus. Protecting natural rhythms. This is where a digital detox comes in. It isn't about abandoning technology completely, it's about protecting your brain's natural rhythms. By reducing exposure to constant alerts and blue light, especially before bedtime, you allow the brain to return to its natural cycles of rest, repair, and memory consolidation. Aging may bring challenges, but it also brings wisdom, the ability to step back, recognize harmful patterns, and make deliberate choices. With intentional digital detox strategies, you can rewire your brain not for distraction, but for focus, calm, and resilience. Chapter 3: The Silent Stress of Digital Noise. Think back to the last time your phone buzzed while you were reading a book or having a meaningful conversation. Did your heart skip a beat? Did your mind wander toward the notification, even if you resisted checking it? That's digital stress in action, an invisible form of tension that builds in the background of our daily lives. Hidden stressors after 50. For adults over 50, life already comes with a unique set of stressors: transitioning careers, retirement planning, managing health issues, caring for aging parents, or supporting grown children. Add constant digital interruptions on top of this, and you get an invisible layer of pressure that rarely gets acknowledged. Psychologists have identified a phenomenon called attention residue. Each time you glance at a notification, even briefly, part of your brain stays stuck on that unfinished task. For example, if you're reading a novel and your phone buzzes with a news alert, your mind may shift back and forth between the story and the news, even if you never open the alert. Over time, this mental tug-of-war drains energy and reduces your ability to concentrate deeply. The cortisol factor. Research shows that digital multitasking raises cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol has a useful purpose in short bursts. It helps us respond to challenges. But when it remains chronically elevated, as it often does with non-stop digital stimulation, it wreaks havoc on the body. For those over 50, this is especially dangerous. Chronically high cortisol contributes to high blood pressure, weight gain, especially around the abdomen, weakened bone density, suppressed immune function, memory problems, and brain fog. In other words, the silent stress of digital noise doesn't just affect your mood, it directly affects your long-term health and aging process. Real-world example. Consider Maria, a 55-year-old caregiver for her elderly mother. She juggles her responsibilities while constantly checking her phone for updates, messages, and social media notifications. Even when she's sitting quietly at home, her mind feels restless. She describes it as never being able to shut off. This constant low-grade stress isn't just making her anxious, it's slowly wearing down her physical health. Why digital detox matters? This is why a digital detox is not just a trendy lifestyle choice, it's a serious stress management tool. By setting boundaries, silencing notifications, and carving out screen-free time, you give your brain and body the opportunity to lower cortisol, restore calm, and reset your stress response. Over time, this doesn't just make you feel more peaceful, it helps protect your heart, bones, memory, and overall resilience as you age. Chapter 4: Digital Detox and Mental Clarity. Imagine this: you sit down with a cup of tea, open a novel, and begin to read. 10 minutes pass, and for the first time in a while, you notice something unusual: your hand isn't twitching toward your phone. You're not distracted by a notification buzzing in the background. Your mind begins to relax into the rhythm of the story. You feel present, focused, and unhurried. This, in its simplest form, is mental clarity. In today's hyper-connected age, mental clarity has become a rare luxury. We live in an environment of constant interruption: emails, texts, breaking news alerts, app reminders, and the subtle temptation of infinite scrolling. This creates what psychologists call a state of continuous partial attention, where our brain is never fully engaged with one thing, but instead split across dozens of micro-demands. For those over 50, regaining clarity isn't just about feeling calmer. It's directly tied to healthy aging. Studies consistently show that reducing screen exposure improves working memory, enhances attention span, and strengthens the hippocampus, the brain's memory center. The hippocampus is particularly vulnerable to shrinkage with age, and maintaining its health is essential for preventing cognitive decline. How detox boosts creativity. There's another hidden benefit of stepping back from screens: creativity flourishes. When the brain is not bombarded by constant input, it has space to wander, reflect, and generate original ideas. That's why some of the world's greatest thinkers, from Albert Einstein to Maya Angelou, valued solitude and screen-free time. Many people over 50 who attempt a digital detox report a rediscovery of forgotten passions. Some pick up painting again after decades. Others start journaling, gardening, or playing a musical instrument they loved in youth. These aren't just hobbies, they're forms of cognitive exercise that keep the brain sharp, flexible, and resilient. That mental housekeeping effect. Think of digital detox as a form of mental housekeeping. When you constantly consume fragmented information, it's like clutter piling up in a room. Your thoughts become scattered, your focus dulled. But when you clear out the clutter, when you step away from the digital noise, you create mental space for clarity, insight, and peace. A clean mind, like a clean home, feels lighter, calmer, and more welcoming. And in this state, you can process life more deeply, whether that's savoring a conversation, enjoying a walk, or simply breathing in the present moment. Chapter 5: Sleep, Screens, and the Aging Brain. If you've ever stayed up scrolling on your phone, telling yourself just 5 more minutes, only to find it's midnight and you're wide awake. You've felt the invisible grip of screens on sleep. For adults over 50, this problem is magnified by the natural changes that occur in the aging brain. Why sleep gets harder with age. As we get older, our bodies produce less melatonin, the hormone that helps regulate the sleep-wake cycle. Deep sleep stages also naturally become shorter and more fragmented. This makes older adults more vulnerable to nighttime awakenings, difficulty falling asleep, or early morning restlessness. Now add screen time into the mix. Blue light from phones, tablets, and televisions directly suppresses melatonin, delaying the body's natural sleep signal. But it's not just the light, it's also the stimulation. When you're watching videos, reading heated debates online, or checking emails late at night, you're keeping your brain in an alert state. Even if you turn the device off, your mind may continue racing long after. The cost of poor sleep. The consequences of sleep deprivation go far beyond feeling groggy. Research shows that chronic insomnia accelerates brain aging by impairing memory consolidation, increases risk of Alzheimer's and dementia by preventing the brain from properly clearing toxins during deep sleep, raises risk of depression and anxiety, weakens the immune system, leaving the body more vulnerable to illness, even contributes to bone loss, since bone renewal happens partly during deep sleep cycles. In other words, poor sleep doesn't just make you tired, it chips away at the very foundations of long-term health. How digital detox restores rest. This is why a digital detox, particularly in the 2 hours before bed, can transform sleep quality. Replacing screens with calming rituals, reading a physical book, journaling, meditating, or listening to gentle music signals to the body that it's time to wind down. Dim lights in the evening help melatonin production kick in naturally, supporting a smoother transition to sleep. Many people over 50 who practice digital detox before bed report waking up more refreshed, with sharper memory and better moods. They also feel more energized during the day, which reduces dependence on caffeine and supports healthier aging overall. A nighttime routine example. Imagine Margaret, age 61, who used to scroll social media until midnight. She often woke up 3 or 4 times a night and felt drained the next morning. After starting a digital detox routine, turning off devices at 9 p.m., reading poetry before bed, and practicing 10 minutes of deep breathing, her sleep began to stabilize. Within weeks, she was waking less often, her memory felt clearer, and she noticed a new sense of calm in her daily life. Better sleep is not just a luxury. For the aging brain, it is a biological necessity, a nightly reset button that restores the body and sharpens the mind. Chapter 6: Reclaiming Human Connection. One of the most overlooked side effects of digital dependency is its quiet erosion of human connection. On one hand, technology makes it possible to stay in touch with children, grandchildren, and old friends across the globe. A video call can bridge continents, and social media can reconnect classmates from decades ago. These are real gifts. But there's a darker side. Digital communication often replaces depth with surface. Instead of a heartfelt conversation, we settle for a quick emoji. Instead of gathering around the table, families eat together while scrolling separately. Over time, these subtle habits chip away at intimacy and belonging. Loneliness, the hidden epidemic. For over 50 adults, this issue is critical. Many find themselves transitioning into retirement, losing spouses or peers, or living at a distance from children. Despite being connected online, they can feel deeply isolated in real life. Health experts now call loneliness the new smoking because of its devastating health effects. Chronic loneliness is linked to higher risks of heart disease, stroke, depression and anxiety, cognitive decline and dementia, shortened lifespan. In fact, some studies suggest that loneliness increases mortality risk as much as smoking 15 cigarettes per day. How detox brings people back together. This is where digital detox shines. By intentionally setting aside devices, you open the door back to genuine human connection. Meals become richer without phones at the table, as eye contact and conversation flow naturally. Walks with friends feel deeper, with attention fully present rather than split between a companion and a screen. Community engagement flourishes when you volunteer, join a club, or participate in group activities without digital distractions pulling you away. These real-world interactions release oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Oxytocin reduces stress, boosts emotional resilience, and even improves cardiovascular health. In other words, connection isn't just emotionally nourishing, it's physically healing. Rediscovering yourself through others. And here's something often overlooked: digital detox not only reconnects you with others, it reconnects you with yourself. Without the constant noise of online life, you begin to notice your own thoughts, feelings, and desires more clearly. Many over 50 adults describe it as coming home to themselves. Take Robert, 59, who decided to cut down his smartphone use. Instead of endlessly checking sports updates, he started playing chess at the local community center. What began as a hobby turned into a circle of friendships that enriched his retirement years. He didn't just find connection, he found purpose. The bigger picture. Digital detox, then, is not about disconnecting from the world. It's about reconnecting to family, to friends, to community, and to the deepest parts of yourself. For the over 50 mind, this kind of connection may be one of the most powerful forms of medicine. Chapter 7: Practical Detox Strategies for the Over 50 Mind. A digital detox doesn't mean tossing your phone into a drawer and pretending it doesn't exist. For most people, especially those over 50, technology is a lifeline. It keeps you connected with family, helps manage health appointments, provides entertainment, and even supports learning. The key isn't abandoning technology, but reshaping the relationship with it. When used wisely, digital tools can empower you. But when they dominate, they drain you. The following science-backed strategies are designed specifically for the over 50 lifestyle, where balance, brain protection, and mindful living take priority. 1. Tech-free zones. Designating specific areas of your home as screen-free sanctuaries can make a tremendous difference. For example, the bedroom. By keeping devices out, you associate the space with rest rather than stimulation. This helps your brain wind down for better sleep. The dining table. Meals become moments of connection, laughter, and presence, rather than quiet scrolling sessions. The bathroom. Though often overlooked, scrolling here can create a cycle of mindless consumption. Using this time for quiet reflection, or simply nothing at all, restores calm. Think of these zones as safe havens for your brain, where it can relax without the constant pull of digital demands. 2. The digital curfew. Sleep disruption is one of the biggest casualties of late-night screen use. Setting a digital curfew, no screens 2 hours before bedtime, allows your brain to produce melatonin naturally. During this time, you might read a physical book, listen to calming music or a podcast, practice gentle stretching or meditation, write in a gratitude journal. Over time, your body begins to recognize this as a nightly ritual, making it easier to fall and stay asleep. 3. Scheduled check-ins. Many people over 50 feel tethered to their phones, checking emails and messages constantly out of habit. Instead, try batching your digital activity. For example, morning, 20 minutes after breakfast. Afternoon, 20 minutes after lunch. Evening, 20 minutes before dinner. This approach reduces the mental attention residue that lingers after every glance at your device. It gives your brain long stretches of uninterrupted focus for more meaningful activities. 4. Grayscale mode. One powerful yet underused tool is turning your phone screen to black and white mode. Without bright colors stimulating your dopamine system, scrolling becomes far less addictive. Social media posts, notifications, and games lose much of their pull. For many, this single change reduces screen time by hours each week. 5. Nature therapy. Replacing just 1 hour of screen time with a walk in nature produces measurable health benefits. Research shows it reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, boosts mood by raising serotonin levels, improves brain plasticity, the brain's ability to grow and adapt, which is crucial after 50. Even a stroll through a park or sitting in a garden has restorative effects. Think of nature as the original form of recharging. 6. A mindful media diet. Not all digital input is harmful. The issue is what you consume. Many people over 50 unknowingly expose themselves to constant streams of negativity, endless news updates, divisive debates, or superficial content. A mindful media diet means unfollowing accounts that drain you, choosing content that educates, inspires, or uplifts, limiting exposure to addictive platforms in favor of meaningful ones. In essence, curate your feeds the way you'd curate your meals. Choose what nourishes. 7. Device Sabbath. Perhaps the most powerful practice is a weekly digital Sabbath, one day where you minimize or even avoid screens entirely. This doesn't mean cutting off from loved ones. It means intentionally disconnecting from non-essential digital noise to focus on real-life experiences, cooking, walking, reading, or visiting family. Many who practice this say it feels like breathing fresh air after being underwater. It restores perspective and reminds you what matters most. These strategies aren't overwhelming when taken one step at a time. Implementing even 2 or 3 can dramatically improve clarity, focus, and well-being. Chapter 8: Detoxing the body alongside the mind. Digital overload doesn't just wear down the brain, it quietly reshapes the body. Hours spent hunched over laptops or phones stiffen joints, strain the spine, and weaken muscles. For those over 50, these effects compound the natural challenges of aging, including reduced mobility, slower metabolism, and declining muscle mass. A true digital detox must therefore be holistic, caring for the body as much as the mind. Here are key elements. 1. Eye care, the 20-20-20 rule. Digital screens force the eyes into unnatural, prolonged focus. Over time, this contributes to eye strain, dryness, and even accelerated vision decline. Optometrists recommend the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds. This resets the eye muscles, reduces strain, and helps prevent headaches. For extra care, keep artificial tears handy, especially in dry environments, and consider blue light blocking glasses in the evenings. 2. Movement snacks. Sitting for long periods is now considered the new smoking. Prolonged inactivity raises risks of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and early mortality. For over 50 adults, it also accelerates sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle. The solution? Movement snacks. Every hour, take 5 minutes to stretch your back and shoulders. Walk around the room or house. Do light exercises like calf raises or wall push-ups. These mini breaks stimulate blood flow, support metabolism, and protect joint flexibility. 3. Posture awareness. Tech neck, the forward hunch from leaning into devices, puts enormous strain on the cervical spine. Over time, this can cause chronic pain, headaches, and reduce mobility. Correcting posture begins with awareness. Keep screens at eye level. Roll shoulders back and down. Strengthen core muscles to support upright sitting. Think of posture correction as a form of long-term investment. You're preventing problems before they become debilitating. 4. Hydration and nutrition. Digital habits often pair with unhealthy ones, sipping coffee endlessly or snacking without awareness while scrolling. For the over-50 body, this can worsen dehydration and elevate blood pressure. Instead, drink water consistently throughout the day. Limit caffeine intake after 2 p.m. to protect sleep. Eat brain-healthy foods, omega-3 rich fish, berries, nuts, and leafy greens, to reduce inflammation and support cognitive recovery. 5. Breathing and micro-relaxation. Staring at screens often leads to shallow breathing, subtly raising stress levels. Building in deep breathing pauses, inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4, exhaling for 6, reduces anxiety, oxygenates the brain, and rebalances the nervous system. When the body feels refreshed, the mind follows. Digital detox becomes more than a tech reset, it becomes a whole-body renewal practice. Chapter 9: Redefining Productivity After 50. One of the greatest fears about reducing screen time is the fear of falling behind. Many worry they'll miss important news, emails, or opportunities. In reality, this fear reflects a cultural myth that productivity equals constant availability. But after 50, productivity shifts. It becomes less about racing and more about depth, quality, and meaning. The myth of multitasking. Digital culture promotes multitasking, responding to emails while scrolling social media, all while half listening to a podcast. But neuroscience shows multitasking isn't real productivity. It fractures attention, slows performance, and increases mistakes. Instead of feeling more accomplished, you end the day mentally scattered and physically drained. The power of single tasking. A digital detox reintroduces the forgotten art of single tasking. By focusing on one task at a time, writing, cooking, exercising, or having a conversation, you unlock greater efficiency and satisfaction. This is especially powerful for older adults, since depth of focus enhances memory retention and reduces cognitive fatigue. A new definition of success. For the over-50 mind, true productivity isn't measured by how many notifications you respond to. It's measured by what endures. Did you deepen a relationship? Did you learn something meaningful? Did you create something lasting? Consider John, 57, who reduced his online work hours to focus on woodworking, a passion he'd ignored for decades. Not only did he craft beautiful furniture, but he also found a sense of accomplishment that no endless stream of emails could provide. The joy of slower living. A detox helps reframe life from a blur of urgency to a rhythm of presence. Instead of chasing the next notification, you invest in activities that nourish body, mind, and soul. This isn't less productive, it's more sustainably productive. Chapter 10: Building a Lifelong Digital Balance. A digital detox isn't a one-off experiment. It's a lifelong practice of balance, an evolving relationship with technology that adapts as you age. Technology as a tool, not a master. The most important mindset shift is remembering, devices are tools. They're meant to serve your goals, not hijack your time. By periodically reassessing how you use them, you remain in control rather than reactive. Core principles of lifelong balance. Intentional use. Ask, why am I opening this app, before you tap. If you don't have a purpose, it may not be worth your time. Cyclical detoxing. Commit to short detox periods, daily curfews, weekly Sabbaths, or seasonal breaks, so recovery becomes part of your routine. Boundaries with flexibility. Life isn't rigid. Some days require more digital engagement. The goal isn't perfection but awareness and balance. Community support. Share your detox goals with friends or family. Doing it together fosters accountability and deeper connection. The rewards of balance. When you commit to this lifelong practice, you gain sharper memory, better sleep, greater emotional resilience, stronger relationships. Most importantly, more time, the most precious resource of all. A closing thought. At the end of the day, your devices will keep evolving, becoming faster, flashier, and more demanding. But your life, real, unfiltered, present moment life, remains finite. The over-50 mind deserves to spend its time not in endless digital distraction, but in living fully, deeply, and intentionally. Because while technology may connect you to the world, balance reconnects you to yourself.